Looking forward to this one. A little bit of spice in the build-up. More from Ghena, talking about a supposed glove gate during sparring a few years ago. Ali spoke to them both about that. Brad Townsend didn't seem to know anything about it, in truth, and thinks it was much ado about nothing and had no bearing on what it is that we're going to see tonight. But they're both in wicked shape, both fired up for it. Such a great opportunity for both of them. Two unbeaten fighters as well, putting it all on the line with a bid to be better. And of course, better things in the offing, Andy, for both of them should they win tonight.
It's got great ingredients, this fight, hasn't it? Exactly what you need. Two guys on the rise. In terms of how old they are, they're both 31, but they're quite young in their pro careers still. And this is a huge opportunity for the pair of them.
Interesting there, Townsend was looking to punch in the clinch. He wasn't content to wait for the referee's break, so he is fired up for it. Whipped himself into terrific shape, training full-time these days, thanks to his dad, who's got a building company. He works on the sites for his dad as a bricklayer from time to time, just because he absolutely loves it. The crack with the boys and the physicality of the job, but he is training full-time these days, and you can see that in the way he's whipped himself into shape for tonight. And Ghena is a neat boxer, good footwork, good balance. We saw him last time, Andy, in this very ring, wasn't it, back in November, where he might have been a little bit lucky to get the squeaker against Mikey Lee Broughton. That was a close fight.
It was a really good fight. A really good fight. And it'll stand him in good stead for this, I think, as well, because it was a tough 10-rounder, that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Brad Townsend's largely been sort of 8 and 9 rounds. He did go into the 9th when he fought Billy Ellington, who was eventually disqualified. That was also back here in November, setting up this opportunity. They're both looking to get that British title. They're serving as a sort of further eliminator towards that. That's opening up, isn't it? That the 140-pound division domestically, with Jack Rafferty's got another fight against Echo Osman in the next week or so. So it looks like Kay Prosper, Luke McCormack could be the man in the way as things start to open up in this division. Trading left hooks at the end of this first round. Not much to choose between them here.
No, it's a tight opening round, isn't it? It slipped by really quick, actually.
Very, very close. Difficult to score that first 3 minutes. Hopefully we're not going to get too many more of those, but you suspect that experience that Ghena went through back in November will be a real asset to him tonight, because that was a similar kind of feel to tonight's fight in terms of opponent and occasion.
It was, and this being over the distance of 12 rounds as well, you mentioned it, for Townsend, he's less experienced deep in fights of the two, but honestly, when I look at the pair of them, I don't really feel like there's an awful lot to pick between them. That first round, there wasn't much to pick between them. Can't read too much into that. It's so early in the fight, of course, but I think this could well be nip and tuck.
And just a general point as we move into the second round. I mean, my view is, when you can split them, don't split them in terms of the scorecards. Like that, I would score that first round 10-10 personally. That's just the way I would do it. But some people, either organizations or just personally, whether you're a judge, a referee, or just a fan, feel that you always have to split them. That you have to find a 10-9 in a round where it's 10-9. How do you feel about all of that?
I've kind of changed my mind on that a bit, because I know that judges are very much encouraged by the sanctioning bodies and the British Boxing Board of Control, I think, to a degree, but maybe not as much, not to score drawn rounds, that you should be able to find a winner. And I gave myself a rule when I used to do the scorecards on Sky that I wouldn't score any drawn rounds, and I didn't. But as I've got a bit older and watched even more boxing, I think that some rounds you just can't really split anybody. And it does often happen in an opening round, because not a lot happens sometimes. It's not a cop-out to score an opening round 10-10, because it's often the most likely round to merit one.
We have, though, had a couple of the most meaningful punches so far, and they came from Yaser Ghena in those exchanges. And that little step to the side uppercut was one of them. That's a really cute, clever shot, that. And he's just maybe starting to feel it, Ghena. Just starting to get his mojo. And the fans are picking up on the mood.
Just short with the uppercut there, wasn't he, Ghena?
It's just a lot of confidence to throw that, to step in with that shot. It's just a lot of confidence. He's looking sharp. They're not all landing, but the fact that he's willing to commit to those kind of shots so early on is a measure of confidence. And of course he is now with Mark and Jimmy Tibbs, and often fighters, rightly or wrongly, when they move stable, there can be an injection of energy one way or another. And that's on them. Same as, you know, footballers are notorious for it. As soon as the manager's sacked, they all start playing out of their skins. Absolute mercenaries, aren't they? But that tends to happen. When there's a change, suddenly everyone's on it. And I think it can happen when fighters move gyms.
I think it can. I think you can get that bounce because everything's just a little bit more fresh, and you're looking to impress. You go to a new gym, a new trainer, you're obviously going to be looking to impress. If it's quite a busy gym and there's a few people in there who've done a bit more than you have, then you want to impress them too. So it could translate in lots of different ways.
Late flurry there from Townsend. Late flurry. He wasn't quite able to land the shots he wanted to land, and he turned away towards the end just before the bell sounded. I think he'd had enough of Ghena's antics, and he didn't want to buy into any of that. And I think that's the right mentality and mindset from Townsend. But there was some sharp shooting. There was only a couple of punches landed, but there's a couple of really sharp shots landed there from Ghena, and that was significant. One thing that has come along with the gym switch for Ghena is he's in and amongst the likes of George Vizioli. I think he's been sparring Archie Sharp in the build-up, Arjun Bazzi as well, but George Vizioli, I mean, that's good work. That's good company to be around.
Yeah, it really is, and I do think if you're in a gym and it's quite busy, and top trainers won't take on too many fighters, but they understand the benefits of having a decent number and different types, because everybody can learn from everybody else. Different experience levels, different skill sets. You know, maybe you'll have people who are real kind of grafters who don't have as much natural ability. Maybe you have people who have a lot of natural ability and you need them to graft a little bit more, and those two sets will look at each other and take things from each other, and that's really what you want, because they're so intensely competitive, these people, that they can't help but compete with each other.
And I suppose Chris Billam-Smith is the perfect example of that. Someone who flourished in a certain environment around other fighters who were perceived to be sort of classier fighters than him, but someone who flourished in the culture and, you know, had the right sort of mindset to make it work too.
No, that's completely right. And then other people in that gym, like Adam Azim, for example, will look at Billam-Smith and think, if I want to be a world champion, I need to be able to work as hard as him.
Amen. You talk about working hard. Brad Townsend, he knows what he's got to do. He's thumping in some body shots. There's a lot of effort from him, a lot of huff and puff, not all of it effective, but I think it's what he needs to do. He knows that he can't afford to stand off Ghena, whose feet are so good, his hands are so fast, and that's smart from Townsend, that he knows certain tactics are going to be required here. He is putting a lot into this, but he's getting a bit of reward.
You're right, he is putting quite a lot into this, but it is the right thing to do, isn't it? Because you cannot allow someone like Ghena to establish a rhythm, or before you know it, you're 6 rounds in and you might be 6 rounds down or 5-1 down, and all of a sudden you're looking at the second half that you've got to completely dominate, and maybe you haven't taken too much out of your opponent's tank. So if you are going to find yourself down at halfway, you've got to make them work for it. If that's how you feel this might go, that the second half might be yours, you can't just be 6-0 down at halfway with them not really having had to break a sweat.
Good response this from Townsend. Nice little stabbing jab to the body as well. Now Ghena's back on the front foot. The tactics switching one way and another. Again, good poise from Ghena, but he did miss with those, and back comes Townsend. And Townsend having the last word. Again, lots of missing from both fighters. So much effort, so much will and desire from them.
Ghena's defences have been pretty sound in this round, haven't they? But still, Townsend, through the sheer volume and effort that he's put in, has won the round, I would say.
And again, Townsend happy to walk away before the end of the round. His work not looking as polished, maybe as clean as Ghena's, but I think he just simply outworked him in that round.
So you look at the replays there at Ghena, and he's tucking up pretty effectively there. A couple sneaking around the back of the guard, one kind of half ricochet through the middle. So Townsend maybe didn't do too much clean damage, although that's a nice long right hand there, but it was the intent really and the effort that came with it.
Here we go then. This is nicely poised. When you're lucky to be commentating ringside, Andy, at these events as we are and you are so regularly, and when you're sitting next to the judges so closely, are you tempted to look over at their scoring cards?
I have done it in the past, but generally speaking, they're kind of aware of it and they'll make it difficult for you.
I sort of feel like I'm looking through some shutters that I'm not supposed to be looking into.
Well, you've got to be quick, because they'll just scribble it down quickly at the end of the round and then hand it in. They're not supposed to keep any kind of running total. I have seen the odd judge do that from time to time, but you're really not supposed to do that.
That's absolutely right. It's the 12 different fights essentially, and there probably are times I'd love to know the answer. Actually, I'd love to ask them, maybe after they're retired. But I'm sure there are occasions where actually they might not know how they've scored a fight.
Yeah, it has to happen. It has to happen.
Here we are in round 4 then. A minute flying by already. Ghena trying to get on the front foot. They've been taking it in turns. There's so much support. Not all of it. Townsend got plenty of people who've made their way down from Oxfordshire. Got his dad, Big Al, ringside tonight as well. Mum can't be here anymore. She'll be watching Jenny, watching home on DAZN. And I wonder how they're seeing it on the end of the sofa, on the end of their seat, as Ghena stabs one to the body. A nice fast 1-2. Townsend implying that it missed. And to be fair to both of them, they have been able to make their opponent miss often tonight. I think actual scoring shots have been rationed because of that. And there's a clipping right hand, kind of inside of the glove there from Ghena, but it did get through.
There's some blood there. Right eye, I think a nick on the inside of the bridge of the nose.
Yeah, Townsend. There's a right hand. And that one did seem to get through. A lot of posturing, a lot of antics, a lot of suggestion that defences are king rather than the attack, but little blemish somewhere around the eye of Townsend, and he is dabbing away at that now. Fast hands of Ghena. Again, he's starting to feel it.
It's a bit of a problem, that cut, because he keeps wiping at it. I think it's, as I said, I think it's maybe on the corner of the eyebrow, but on the inside. So the blood, I think, is running into the eye.
I think you're right, Andy. So sort of between the eyebrows, but more on the left side, just above the nose. And whether that was a punch or whether that was heads. Oh, Ghena, it was a left hook. It looked like there was a punch. He was off balance, but it did look like there was a punch, and I don't think they're going to count it. Well, wouldn't mind a look at that again. He was right on the bell. It did look like he was already going through the ropes, but it also looked like there was a left hook to me as he was going down.
It really did. It really did. It was right on the bell, and he was dipping low, almost taking a seat on the bottom rope, but a left hand did seem to land, and my initial reaction was that that should have been called. But we need to see it.
He is. I mean, there is a tapping left hook. He is already kind of back and through the ropes as he's going down, but it's up for debate. It is up for debate.
He could have called it, couldn't he? I'm not saying it's a wrong decision, but he could have called it.
It might be the fairest call, the way that it's been handled. But if Townsend loses this by a point, let's return to the end of round 4. Get the VT ready. Let's see how the cut, whether that's going to play a part as well. Let's hope not. Well, the interesting thing is the confidence that is brimming through Ghena. Does what we've seen so far merit it, I think, would be the question I'd ask. But he feels it. He thinks it is, and maybe that's all that counts.
I think it is in a lot of cases. He's that kind of guy, isn't he? He rates himself, he backs himself, he's got some proper skills. I think if you're his trainer, you just have to accept that this is the kind of thing that he's going to do. It would drive you slightly mad at times, but I don't think there's an awful lot you can do about it.
There was a moment there where I just wondered if Ghena was going to go through the ropes again, and I think that there might come a point where, if that progresses, that the referee will have to take some action. But anyway, at the moment, the feet are working for Ghena. He's feeling confident. The crowd are picking up on the mood. Whether there's really as many scoring shots that are giving him control of the fight like he thinks, I would call into question personally, but that's the mood. A good feed again from Ghena. Good feed. Townsend tried to pin him in the corner, and he was gone and out. They both trade jabs there, one punch apiece in that little exchange. Well, there's a nice right hand. Didn't quite connect. He almost pulled it, didn't he, Townsend? But he did land it, that right hand. I know, Andy. Some of the old timers like to talk about, you know, Willie Pep winning rounds without throwing a punch and all of that. And if you I mean, this round, I think, is a good case in point, really. If you're going to win rounds by good footwork and not being hit, then yes, Ghena wins that round. But winning rounds is about scoring punches, and they were in short supply there. So I think the look and the reality might be two different things, but maybe I'm being too critical.
No, it's an interesting scenario, because Ghena's the kind of guy who will enjoy doing that, and he'll take pride in doing it, that kind of matador style, and he will feel like he's schooling his opponent in doing it. But the reality is, what judges are looking for first, second, third, fourth and fifth is effective punching, and who's done more of that. No matter what it looks like, who's done the most effective punching. And there'll be judges who will look at that and feel like it's Townsend who's doing that. He might be a bit clumsy compared to Ghena. He might not have the feet that Ghena's got. But you've got to be careful with someone like Ghena. And that's why I said he's maybe a little bit frustrating or a challenge to train, because you might be warning him about this, because he'll be thinking that he's winning those rounds and putting on an absolute boxing masterclass, but it's not necessarily true.
Well, I was attempting to score this fight, but I think I've just given up. And one thing we know is Townsend he's finding it difficult to pin down Ghena. His footwork and his movement is class. He's getting himself quite quickly out of danger. There was a little short right hand, and then there was a fast left hook. The right hand came from Townsend, scoring shot. Left hook came from Ghena, scoring shot. 1-1, but the crowd went daft for the Ghena shot.
And then Townsend just after that stepped in with a good solid compact 1-2. The right hand probably half got through, ricocheting off the glove, and again, you know, that registers. Nice jab though from Ghena there.
Yeah, good jab. He's got some skills, and I think Townsend's just got to. He's got to just make sure he doesn't buy into all of this. And I think he's not. I think he's being as professional and as controlled as he can. But it must be a bit of a struggle, because this is a mental test for him as much as it is a skills test.
Yeah, you have to stay locked in, don't you, and believe that your method will bear fruit, that you will get to him, that you stay disciplined, you don't give anything away, and you try and ignore the extravagance of the movement and just stay zoned in on that torso in particular.
Flicking the jab on the back foot. Townsend had his own sort of landing shots. It's always sort of workman-like, because he's tough to get close. That's a class shot from Ghena. The gold thread from his shorts starting to stray down behind his back as though he's got a tail. But that was gold standard, wasn't it?
And that's good as well. An uppercut on the inside, followed by a right hand, and then just turned away. And I think that's why Townsend caught him around the back of the head. I don't think there was anything deliberate about it, but Rhys Carter's going to have a quick word.
Yeah, I mean, the crowd are helping make it a bit pantomime, aren't they? But that's the fun of being a supporter and a fan. But little cameos of class here from Ghena in this round. And I think that, you know, in rounds that are tight, those one or two eye-catching shots should be enough. Here comes Townsend again. There's a big left hook, gets through, and a right to the body. And you could argue in this exchange that Townsend has landed as many, if not more, punches than Ghena did eye-catchingly earlier on in the round.
He was definitely winning the round up until that point, Ghena, and then he tucked up on the ropes. He was soaking it up pretty well to start with, and then he managed to get through with two or three there, Townsend. It's a good example, that finish to the round, isn't it?
I don't want to be... I'm glad I don't have to score this fight. I've given up a few rounds ago. I think it's going to be nigh on impossible. I think you could get something funky here.
I thought before that flurry, I thought he boxed a good round there, Ghena, didn't he?
Classy, looked really good.
Because what he did in that round that he maybe didn't do in the previous one or two was he held his feet often enough and hit him with some good sharp shots.
But Andy, one or two punches. For all the bejazzle, there were one or two punches, Andy. as eye-catching as they were, and then you get that late flurry from Townsend that theoretically could negate all of that eye-catching wizardry. And I use that phrase, wizardry, advisedly.
No, I hear you. I hear you. That's the debate around scoring, isn't it? Simply, you have to work out who has landed the greater tonnage of effective punches. I always look at it from the point of view of energy bars on a computer game. You've got a combat game, a fight game on a computer. The start of each round, your energy bar is full. During the course of the round, you have to work out who's chipped off more of that energy bar, who's is most full at the end of the round, and whoever's is most full, they win.
Nice little combination from Ghena at the start of this round. He's got a lot of class. He's got some moves. And everything, you know, in fairness, everything for Townsend, it's a bit more forced. It's more of an effort. And there's a nice left hook there from Ghena again. The class shots, when they come, are from Ghena, no question about that.
They've done a good job with that cut, haven't they?
Brilliant. They snuffed that out. When was that? In the second, Andy? The early doors. And you can see with Ghena, he's trying to balance. I think naturally he probably is a counter puncher, and so he's trying to balance that tactically, isn't he? Here he's trying to get on the front foot, but he's got the skills to do anything. Well, all of those shots missed from Townsend and then from Ghena. There's a right hand gets through from Ghena. I think really their decision making and the defenses have been on top tonight. There's a nice sharp right hand from Ghena again. But they've been so switched on, Andy, haven't they? They've such good condition, this pair. So wired into the moment that it's not been easy to find the target.
They have been, and this round is very similar to the one we've just seen. And if you're Ghena, as he picks a lovely jab there, you just have to make sure that the way that previous round finished doesn't happen again here, because again he's winning this round.
I can see why Ghena might think he's just outclassing Townsend here. Generally, over the piece. I can see why he'd feel that.
In some ways he is.
In some ways he is, yeah, that's a good point. But, you know, boxing's about landing punches, and ultimately they've generally been in short supply. You suspect, as we get down the stretch, that energy bar that Andy was talking about is going to start to deplete bar by bar, and therefore the openings will become available, and therefore the telling shots will start to land and maybe have more effect as well. And so far, two switched on fighters, not making it easy for their rival.
It's been a lively pace as well, hasn't it, from the beginning, so it'll be interesting to see how these two stand up to it conditioning wise. And Townsend's kept nice and solid and compact, hasn't he? He's never got frustrated by the skills of Ghena. He stayed true to his method, which is just like punch within the framework of your body, jab, right hand, get that guard back up, tuck those elbows in, don't give anything away.
I can absolutely see why Ghena might have won just about every round here. Absolutely, I can sense it. I can imagine it. I can understand it to an extent, but we're pretty close to the action here. And even there, 1-2 from Townsend. Those were on the gloves. They are switched on, this pair, and they're not making it easy for their rival. Nice jab. And that was a good example of how timing is everything. It's why Mike Tyson had such a brilliant jab. You know, a guy who's always shorter than his opponents and yet could out-jab taller, rangier opponents. So that beautiful timing there from Ghena.
Good left hand into the body there from Ghena. Again, looks for that 1-2 there, Townsend. Doubles up on the left hand. Ghena's... He slowed everything down a bit, hasn't he? He spent 2 or 3 rounds flying around all over the place to an extent, and that's what really kind of inspired the conversation we had about how effective is this really, as impressive as it is. But the last 2 or 3, this being the third of this tranche of the fight, if you like, his feet are a bit more planted to the canvas. He's still turning around that front foot well. He's still elusive enough, but he's throwing more punches and he's landing more, quite simply.
And, you know, I asked this question before, Brad Axe, Kevin Revell, who would it favour when the pace slackened? Actually, surprisingly, it was Brad Axe in the last couple of rounds, but you sort of wonder, would that lean towards Ghena with his skills and his feet? Maybe that would just help him as he stabs a jab to the body. Great following for Ghena, and they've been brilliant support right from the outset. Again, good punching round the target, and it was the feet that took him there, Ghena. Slightly on the side of the head, one of those shots. A nice, sharp, chopping right hand from Ghena. Again, that was accurate. Maybe a little less steam in the attack of Townsend?
Possibly, yeah. Possibly. Big right uppercut aimed there from Ghena at the end of the round. I think what happened towards the end of the 5th, was it? Where he was winning the round, Ghena, then he got backed up to the ropes, allowed himself to stay there, and Townsend teed off on him for about the last 15 seconds or so. Not all of it got through, but enough did, maybe, certainly to make that round close. He hasn't let that happen since. And he hasn't done it, as we say, by getting up on his tiptoes and flying all over the place. He's just kept him turning.
Yeah, more control from him. And I think while the first 5 rounds, there's a big debate about who did what and whether it mattered on the scorecards. I think maybe sort of 7 and 8, Ghena's just found a little bit of room and space. Whether that's because he's found the right sort of method and rhythm, or whether some of the pace and sting has gone out of Townsend, who did put a lot into the first couple of rounds, didn't he, Andy?
He did, that third in particular, because I think we felt that he could be 2-0 down after 2. And he put a big effort round in the third, and he's not like he's not wilting here, I wouldn't say, but again there, maybe just a slightly laboured look about that as he stepped in to throw the 1-2 and found the left hand of Ghena just bouncing off his forehead. But that's good, isn't it, from Ghena, because he was backed up to the ropes there, he found a way out, and then he turned his man and just showed a bit of strength there himself.
Yeah, absolutely. Not going to be hustled out, worked in fact quite the opposite. I'm going to turn this to my advantage. Ghena covering up well there. The oohs and ahs and howls from the crowd felt there was a punch on the break there, and I think that, again, the referee chose not to. He did have a word earlier on, didn't he? So I think that's why the crowd were on to that. Townsend whipping in a couple of body shots. They almost went round the side and the back of Ghena. Can't fault Townsend for effort here, trying to make it work for him.
No, as we say, he's stuck to it here. He's never really lost his shape. That's a good right hand there from him. He's trying to put on as much pressure as he can. Good jab there from Ghena, and then just steps off. But this is the problem that he's got. He's up against somebody who is a lot more mobile than him.
It's interesting. It's good the fans enjoy the movement. Sort of, we're living in a kind of soundbite society, aren't we? That highlights, showreel stuff is usually what's wanted, but actually they're kind of buying into the class and movement of Ghena, who is starting to taunt Townsend a little. Townsend nearly getting through with the left hook, but the movement and smarts of Ghena, and their nice swiping right hand from him. Again, he's gone in a way out of danger, and he's starting to buzz. Little shake of the head, almost a little arrogance there from Ghena, as if to say, you don't belong in the ring with me. And in truth, through the last 3 rounds, maybe he's just starting to prove a point.
Yeah, he's a showman, isn't he? And he's got some real skill. He's got some personality and charisma to him, I think, as well. He really enjoys it in there. But as the fight's gone on, he's got better. And maybe that's because you're a bit amped up at the start, there's the adrenaline flowing, you know you've got the skills to make your opponent miss and maybe make them look a little bit stupid, and that's a little bit seductive for you. Or maybe it's just as simple as the tank just runs down a bit and you think to yourself, all right, I need to be a bit more economical now. And he's better when he does that.
Little mouse under the right eye now of Brad Townsend as well. As we move into the 10th, down to the stretch, the championship rounds, can Townsend find another gear? Can he find a punch? Can he find something to turn a tide that has moved in a certain direction? A really sharp, fast jab now from Ghena.
He's up the pace a bit himself here, Townsend. He's realising, I think, that he's got to get a hold of Ghena here. He's got to try and close that space down a bit quicker.
And I suppose, sort of going back to the discussion earlier and then moving it on now, I suppose a fight is always in stages and parts, and like a kind of violent symphony in a way that you don't go straight to the punchline or the crescendo. You have to move through the stages and the phases, and I suppose maybe that earlier stage was all part of it for Ghena. As much as I felt it was a closer competitive fight than maybe his body language was suggesting.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. And that's what's really interesting about watching people box over 12 rounds for the first time, or 10 rounds for the first time. You look at them and you just think, if it's a good competitive fight where they're not having it all their own way, how do they navigate it? How do they plot their way through it? Because you're not going to have it all your own way.
No, exactly, and that's always my, that's what they call hubris, isn't it? I mean, I think that sort of stuff can come back to bite you. I think all fighters, all sportsmen need self-awareness. I think it's one of the most important things that they can have in life, in truth, outside of sport as well. And so having that self-awareness about actually what is going on, so therefore what's required now and then and next, I think is just huge for sports people. I think it's such a key factor for fighters as well. But Ghena has got a lot of confidence, he's got a lot of smarts, he's got a lot of skills, and as this fight has gone on, he's been able to find the space to show all of that, or he's created and engineered the situation so that he's been able to show all of that.
There's no doubt, I think, in the second half of the fight that Townsend would have slowed down a bit, because that's just natural. But I think if you're training Ghena, the Tibbs might look at this and say to him, it's as simple as you were better when you moved a bit less or less extravagantly and punched a bit more.
But then in the early part of the fight, are you having to move more because Townsend's fitter, stronger at that stage of the fight? Oh, he's clipped him. A right hand right at the end of the round. And this time, is he going to call it? Yes, he is. Might have happened in the 4th. Now happens belatedly at the end of the 10th. And I'm not sure he can have too many complaints about that. It'll be up for debate. Love to get a second look at it. But maybe more even than we saw earlier. A more extreme example of what we saw earlier.
I think so, and what's interesting about that too is that turns what would have been a 10-9 for Ghena into a 10-8 for Townsend. So depending on how some of those early rounds have gone, that could get him back into the hunt, or certainly it'll tighten things up. There's no question that it won't do that, because although Ghena was winning that round quite comfortably, a knockdown is a massive event in the round, and that will flip it from a 10-9 to Ghena to a 10-8 to Townsend.
So end of the 4th, a similar situation that wasn't given probably the right call on balance. That one was by the referee, and Ghena probably didn't help himself, didn't he, with his sort of balance and the weight going backwards, and he just gave that little avenue, and now he's given a sniff to Townsend, a sniff that didn't seem like it was in the offing for the last 3 or 4 rounds.
And interestingly, he's come out here to get on the front foot, hasn't he? He's come straight out of the start of the 11th, Ghena, to get on the front foot.
He'll be mad about that, Ghena. He's winning the round, he's winning the fight, he's well on the way, he's getting better and better. We're starting to praise him for the kind of performance he's putting on, and then balance wrong, tactics wrong, weight too much on his back foot, retreats to the ropes, couple of punches and he's out, and suddenly that's turned around. So yeah, I think he's peeved by that, and he's motivated by it to turn it his way.
But it's interesting, this is the first concerted spell in the fight, because we're a minute into the round, and for the whole minute he's been closing that space down, getting on the front foot, looking to be aggressive.
Townsend sticks his tongue out, but he was clocked by a big right hand, and this is business from Ghena. It really does mean business. I think either way, whatever you make of the whole sort of balance of tonight, he does have some stuff, Ghena, and he's got something about him, one way or another.
I think he does, and it's interesting to see him do this, to try and hunt his man down.
I mean, Jack Rafferty might be moving on, but, you know, how would he got on against a really physically tough, hard, strong punching Jack Rafferty? That's a different test entirely. Kay Prosper, Luke McCormack sort of in the wings as well. So loads of good fighters around. The challenges will get greater if Ghena to come out on top in this. But a good response this from Ghena after that stumble, that trip, I think, in the previous round. Nice little exchange. Again, not all those punches land. He just missed with the final right hand there, Ghena, but it's his approach in this penultimate round that you got to like. It's a good measure of how on top he is in this round, Ghena, that Townsend was happy to sit and counter on the ropes there in the final stages of the round. So good response that from Ghena. He might not have needed it, but he felt that he did, and he wanted to, and that's the important thing.
Yeah, just looking at Townsend over in the corner, a round to go, 12-round fight, hard fight. He's put loads into this. He's a bit marked up. I don't think he's got an enormous amount left, because having scored that knockdown at the end of the 10th, which would have tied things up at least. He needed some wind in his sails to think, right, I'm going to put my foot to the floor now for the final 2 rounds. If I win these final 2 rounds, then who knows? But he couldn't do it because Ghena, from the belt, took the centre of the ring and basically just bullied him, didn't he? That's what happened.
Stamping his authority on it late. 1 more round to go then. I think that's what they call a reluctant touch of the gloves. And they will go at it now through this final 3 minutes. How does Ghena want to go about it? What has Townsend got left to give? Nice little sharp shooting uppercut. Oh, he a second one from Ghena. He looked for that. He found the second one even better. That really did hit the target. He is a great story, Ghena. You know, where he's come from, coming to the UK. He's a youngster. His dad working for pennies on a market stall. Slowly but surely working the way through life. Bumps in the road at school, trouble, almost going to jail, finding salvation in boxing, eventually through Anthony Joshua's old haunt, Finchley, ABC, and bit by bit, he's worked his way through this sport, through life, and to this point.
It never gets old, does it? We have lots of stories like that in boxing, but for me anyway, it never takes the power out of it.
And you have to be who you are. The boxing ring tells its truth, that ultimately, one way or another, fighters reveal themselves up there. And Ghena feeds off that kind of confidence. That's part of his makeup. I didn't catch that, Andy. Ghena's sort of remonstrating. I don't know if he used his head there. Certainly referee thought so.
Well, that's what the referee was indicating. He must have felt that it was deliberate use of the head. I didn't really see it either, to be honest.
He's buzzing Ghena. Whether you like it or not, he is buzzing. Nice left hand there from Ghena as well. Been a lot of class from him tonight. And the further the fight's gone on, he's been a step or two ahead of Brad Townsend, who, despite that sort of olive branch handed out with a knockdown in the 10th, he wasn't able really to capitalise on it. I think he's a bit unlucky there, Townsend. He is trying to punch in the clinch. I think the sooner we bring this to an end, the better. Yeah, thank you. And Ghena celebrates. And well, he might. Frustrating night in the end for Brad Townsend. And Ghena classy when he needed to be.
He was. He completely dominated the second half of the fight, and the knockdown at the end of the 10. If you take that out of the equation, then I think he won 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And the might on one or two of the judges' scorecards not have been too much in it at halfway, because as we discussed, there were rounds where he exhibited a lot of flamboyant skills, Ghena, but maybe didn't do all that much punching. But he's got something, this guy. There's something about him. He's got some real ability. He's got some attitude. He's got some confidence. Whether you enjoy that kind of thing or whether you don't, you know, it sets him apart.
Yeah, some of that sells. And when he's hot, no doubt about it.
And he wants it as well, doesn't he? He really, you can see it. You can see it in him. He really, really wants this. And it might sound like a really obvious thing to say, but as you rise up the levels, it's that very basic thing that to a large extent can divide people. And Townsend's cutting a fairly forlorn figure over in the red corner there, but he put a tremendous amount of effort into that fight. I think towards the end there he was getting pretty, not just frustrated, a bit angry at some of the antics of Ghena, and he's lost a couple of points in that final round, which is going to widen out the scores. But you know, this is something that he could build on, that he can learn from. He was just in with a guy who was just too skillful for him, was just too good for him, really. He was, and he's celebrating now with his family. You can see how much it means to them. I spoke about the journey. I mean, you suspect they'll be thinking about all those hard yards back in the day, the years and years, and all that it's taken to get to this point in all of their lives. So it means so much. And the journey might go further. The story might get better. You fancy there's one or two chapters to be written, and the cue to wipe that confidence and smile off Ghena's face, the cue for that job is getting longer by the minute. Yeah, I think so, and that's the bonus of having that bit of flamboyance, that bit of personality. It's up to the referee to decide what they will and won't allow in that ring. I remember a couple of years ago I had a fairly well publicised kind of spat with Ben Whittaker. The only reason that I kind of not condemned what he was doing was because he tapped his opponent on the top of the head, and that for me was choosing to commit a deliberate foul in order to mock your opponent, and I can't have that. There's no law against showing off, though. There's no rule against showing off. It's up to the referee whether they will go for it, how much of it they'll allow. I tell you what, I'm absolutely certain he is going to get the decision, but when your whole family gets in the ring, you need to, don't you? Yeah, absolutely. No, I suspect it. They need to get the abacus and the calculator out for that one. Let's get confirmation of it with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of boxing, we go to the judges' scorecards. Judge John Latham scores the bout 116 to 109. Judge Marcus McDonald scores the bout 116 to 111. Judge Darren Sargentson scores the bout 117 to 108. And your winner by unanimous decision, and your new Commonwealth Super Lightweight champion, and still the WBO European Super Lightweight champion, Yaser Ghena!
3 rounds difference, three points difference between the 3 judges there, but ultimately pretty wide. 5 points, I think, was the least of them. Otherwise, it was pretty wide and comfortable in the end. As competitive and maybe scrappy it was through the first half, Ghena's class told in the end, and he can celebrate the moment with his loved ones and his family, and he whets the appetite, gets his name out there. Probably raises a few hackles. In the old days, they say sells a few papers as well, Andy. So all of that can only help the story one way or another as he looks to move on.
He does. When you look at the cards, though, the judges have given Townsend some rounds, and they would have come in the first half of the fight. So I suspect that, well, there was a 10-8 towards the end as well. So he did get something. He did get some change in that first half, but there's no doubt who was the deserved winner. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching him. You're right, people are going to fancy it with him. They're going to look to try and wipe that smile off his face, and he will be more than happy for them to come and have a go.
And there's maybe the first big photo on the first real big night of his career. And with those skills to burn, who knows how far it's going to take him. Jimmy Tibbs up there is ageless as ever. Ageless as ever. And spare a thought for Brad Townsend. A frustrating night for him. He was competitive through the first half. Marked up, he gave it his all. He wasn't quite good enough. It was a frustrating night. Ghena made it a bit more frustrating with his antics. Tough learning curve. Tough night at the office, that's for sure. Let's get a debrief. Let's get some reaction now with the winner. He's with Ali.
Yaser, you are the new Commonwealth champion and you retain your WBO European. How are you feeling after that one?
First of all, I just want to say, Alhamdulillah, I want to thank God. Without God, it wouldn't be possible. My last fight, you know, my grandma passed away, and then a week later, a close brothers of mine, Lats and Sina, also passed away, and Mama Lats here, Mama Sina, Dad Sina, you know, I couldn't let them down, you know.
We can see it's a very emotional moment for you. You've definitely done them all proud in here tonight. Yaser, that was your first 12 rounds, a tough 12 rounds as well. How are you feeling after going that distance for the first time?
Yeah.
The fans want to hear from you.
Look, I've done it the hard way, man. Starting off with small hall boxing. I've been in the game for like 10 years. I've been on the circuit. You know, I've done it the traditional way, Southern area, English, WBO European, now Commonwealth. You know, I feel I deserve a contract now. You know, I deserve to be on a big platform. You know, look, listen, I'm made for this, you know what I mean? Look, the brighter the lights, the brighter shine. Look, my last performance weren't great. I told Johnny, give me someone in the top 10 and watch me demonstrate. Look, credit to Brad, you know, he was top 10 in there. But, you know, let's give that a refresh in the morning.
Well, Brad, we'll bring you in, you're still in the ring. Come over, a great fight, a great 12 rounds. Not quite enough tonight, but how would you sum up that performance?
I think, yes, he did well. He beat me fair and square. It was nick of the rounds. Scored a knockdown, thought I brought it back, and the points got deducted. And it slipped away, and he won fair and square, so back to the drawing board, and I'll come back stronger.
A lot of antics from both of you, back and forth throughout the fight. Is all the personal stuff from before all put to bed now after that 12-round war?
It's nothing personal, man. It's just my style. I'm just being me. Johnny see me spar, I do it in sparring. It's just me being me. That's my style. I'm enjoying. I'm not taking the piss or anything. I'm just enjoying myself. And that's me. That's just my style.
And Brad, you can come back. There'll be future fights for you.
I just want to say congratulations to Yaser. It's just business, nothing personal. Need better man of the night, so we'll come back stronger. We'll get him again.
Well, it was a fantastic fight from both of you. Thank you for entertaining the fans. Yaser, final word to you.
Final words. I know I said I need a contract, but my boy Johnny as well, he needs a contract. Give him the contract, mush.